Hey there, CGMS students. Welcome to Notes 4.4. Today we're talking about parts of an expression. So understanding the vocabulary terms behind an expression and what we call certain parts of it. So we take a look at this diagram. We have an expression here, 14x plus 9 minus 2x plus 8 minus 5x plus 1. What do all these things mean? Okay, so variable terms are simply that, numbers with variables. So we have 14x is a variable term. Negative 2x, you take the sign with it, and you might want to always keep change just to make sure you understand if it's a positive or negative. So negative 2x, negative 5x, those are the variable terms. Constant terms, those are terms without a variable. That would be 9, that would be 8, and that would be 1. So quickly to recap, variable terms are simply terms with a number and a variable. Constant terms are just terms without a variable. And coefficients are the number next to a variable. It's a fancy mathematical word. So anytime you have a number next to a variable, it is a coefficient. So 14 is a coefficient. Negative 2 is a coefficient. Negative 5 is a coefficient. All right. Next thing to understand is that a term is anything separated by a plus or minus sign. So in this expression, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. So this has 6 terms in this expression. 3 of them happen to be variable terms, and 3 of them happen to be constant terms. All right, so let's take a look at these expressions, and we're going to identify the variable terms, constant terms, and coefficients. So variable terms in number 1. First of all, we have 2 terms in this problem. Simply this guy and this guy, something separated by a plus sign, 2 terms. The variable terms are 11a and 4a. Why? Because they are terms with variables attached to them. Constant terms, we have none of them. We have no terms where there's no variables, and the coefficients are positive 11 and positive 4. Always keep the sign with it. Let's do another one. Number 2, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms here. 4 terms, and again, it's going to be very important for you to remember anytime you see subtraction to change it to plus a negative, right? Casey, see that, so you can understand whether that's a positive or negative 4. So variable terms, we're looking for terms with variables attached to them. So 1, 2, so 3x and 7x. Constant terms, we do have some. Those are numbers without a variable, so 6 and negative 4. 6 and negative 4. And the coefficients are just simply the numbers in front of variables, so 3 and 7. So numbers attached to variables are coefficients. All right, I'll do one more with you. That would be number 3. So negative 12m plus a negative 3 plus 4m plus 16. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4 terms again. 4 terms. Our variable terms are negative 12m and 4m, so make sure you get the sign with that. Our constant terms are not 3, but negative 3 and 16. Those are the 2 constants without variables attached to them. And then coefficients, the numbers attached to variables, are negative 12 and 4. Okay, so the rest I'm going to have you either do an ed puzzle, or I'm going to have you do in partners. On the back side, let's just review a little bit. What's the definition of an expression? Well, it's a mathematical phrase that contains variables, numbers, and operators. And something as simple as 2x plus 5 minus 3y, right? We have our numbers, we have our variables, and we have our operator. A non-example is an equation. So anything with an equal sign is not an expression, such as 2x plus 5 equals 10. Or 5h equals 30, right? Those are equations when you have an equal sign. And that goes to the important fact. In characteristic expressions, no equal signs. They are simply expressions and placeholders with variables for things we don't know yet. So if you move on down here, we're first going to go ahead and count the terms. In this expression, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 terms. We have variable terms of 2k, negative m, n, and negative 7p. Our coefficients are 2, and this is important. When you have a variable by itself, the coefficient is 1 or -1. So in the case of negative m, it is -1. In the case of n, positive n, it is +1. And then negative 7p is obviously -7. And our constants, numbers without variables, we just had 2 of them, 15 and -3. So I'm going to ask that you finish the rest in Edpuzzle, and we'll talk about some of these in class or partners together.